Civilized dialogue must create delivery mechanisms for realizing the aspirations of the people. It calls for reconciling the differences among the stakeholders and building a consensus for the law to be enacted. Enacting laws without discussion impacts the lawmaking role of the parliament. It breaches the trust reposed in it by the people. This is neither good for the democracy relating to those laws. Fellow citizens, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Patel, Subhash Chandra Bose, Bhagat Singh, Rabindranath Tagore, Subramanya Bharati, and many more. The vocation and the approach might have been different, but they all spoke the same language of patriotism. We owe our freedom to these great warriors of nationalism. We also salute the unsung heroes who have died securing the liberation of Mother India. But it pains me to see that Mother India is not respected by her own children when it comes to the safety of women. Atrocities of rape, murders, harassment on the roads, kidnapping and dowry deaths have made women fearful even in their own homes. Rabindranath Tagore saw women not only as the deities of the household fire, but also the flame of the soul itself. Where have we teachers and leaders that our children have forgotten all tenets of decent behavior and respect for women? We have enacted many. Benjamin Franklin had once said, and I quote, "Justice will not be served until those who are as those who are." Every Indian must take a pledge to protect the honor of women of any kind. Only a nation that respects and empowers its women can become a global. Of an India who celebrated pluralism, advocated tolerance, and promoted with utmost care and vigilance. The freedom inherent in democracy sometimes generates an unhappy byproduct when political discourse becomes a competition in hysteria that is abhorrent to our traditional ethos. Cuts and wounds people's hearts. Religion, said Gandhiji, is a force for unity. We cannot make it a cause of conflict. Fellow citizens, much is said about India's soft power. The most powerful example of India's soft power in an international environment where so many countries are sinking into the morass of theocratic violence lies in our definition of the relationship between faith and polity. We have always reposed our trust in faith equality, where every faith is equal before the law and every culture blends into another to create a positive dynamic. The wisdom of India teaches us unity is strength, dominance is weakness. Fellow citizens, the multi-nation conflict bloodlines and turned terrorism into an industry of evil. Terrorism and violence are seeping across our borders. While peace, non-violence, and good neighborly intentions should remain the fundamentals of our foreign policy, we cannot afford to be complacent about adversaries who will stop at nothing to disrupt our progress towards a prosperous and equitable India. Repeated violations of the ceasefire along the line of control and terrorist attacks must get an integrated response through incisive diplomacy and impregnable security mechanisms. The world must join India in fighting the menace of terrorism. Fellow citizens, Economic progress is also a test of democracy. The year 2015 is a year of hope. Key economic indicators provide for much optimism. The strengthening of the external sector, moderation in price levels, early signs of rebound in manufacturing, and record agricultural production last year augur well for our economy. Achieving 5% plus growth rates in each of the first 2 quarters of 2014-15 is a healthy sign for an early reversion to the high growth trajectory of 7 to 8%. The success of a society is measured by both survival and strengthening of its values, institutions, and instruments of governance. Our national narrative has been shaped by the principles of its past, triumphs of today, and is now ready to own the future by powering its latent potential. Fellow citizens, our national ambition is to raise the quality of life of Indians by quantum leaps and raise generations enlightened by learning, patriotism, compassion, honesty, and a sense of duty. Thomas Jefferson had said, and I quote, "Educate and inform the whole mass of the people. They are the only sure reliance for the preservation of our liberty," unquote. We must strive for the highest quality in our educational institutions so that we can take our place within a visible future amongst the knowledge leaders of the 21st century. I would urge, in particular, that we lay special stress on the culture of books and reading, which takes knowledge beyond the classroom and frees imagination from stress of the immediate and the utilitarian. We must be a creative people, nourished by innumerable, interlinked rivers of ideas. Our youth must lead the way to mastery of technology and communication in a universe where the cloud has become a library without frontiers, and vast opportunity awaits within the computer in your palm. The 21st century is within India's grasp. Fellow citizens, this future will remain both visible and elusive if we do not discover the ability to continually cleanse ourselves of retrograde habits and social ills. Over the past century, some have died, others have faded, but many still exist. We are celebrating this year the centenary of Gandhiji's return to India from South Africa. We can never cease to learn from a Mahatma. The first thing he did in 1915 was to keep his eyes open and his lips sealed. It is advisable to follow his example. While we are rightly focused on 1915, perhaps we should also cast a glance on what Gandhiji did in 1901, the year when he returned home for his first break. The annual Congress session was held that year. Gandhiji was a delegate. He went to Ripon College for a meeting. He discovered that the whole place had been dirtied by fellow delegates. A shocked Gandhiji did not wait for any allotted cleaner. He picked up a broom and cleaned the area. No one followed his example in 1901. 114 years later, let us follow his example and become worthy children of a magnificent father. Jai Hind! Jai Hind! Jai Hind! Jai Hind! Jai Hind! Jai Hind! Thank you very much for listening so patiently to the address of our Honorable President on the eve of Republic Day. I just have a few words to add from my own side, just as I like to do on this occasion, to keep you informed, abreast of some of the things that we've been working on, some of the things that we have been trying to do. The first, and I think it's most relevant to our wonderful Indian community here, is that after years of discussion, demands from sections of the Indian community the Government of India announced at the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas to merge the PIO and OCI cards. And for those who are long-term residents, those who are not Indian passport holders, this is important because what it means is that everybody can get an OCI card and get a lifelong visa to visit India. If anyone wants details, they are on our website and our counselor will be happy to provide them. The other thing I wanted to mention is that a number of you have complained to us privately, as friends always do, about the state of our premises in our visa offices and in our press offices. We took a difficult decision last year to move out of premises that we had occupied for the last 60 years in Taladharb Street. And I'm happy to say that as of today, we've moved to Zamalik, to the Abul Faida building next to the HSBC bank. And we have new offices for both our consular services, passports and visa services, our press office, and our cultural center, the Maulana Azad Center for Indian Culture. I'm sure when you come there, you will notice the difference and you will agree that it's much more representative of the new India that we belong to. We've also set up a helpline, which is 24/7 available. The numbers will be on our website. It's a bilingual helpline in English and in Arabic. So if our Egyptian friends need any help over a weekend at any time of the night, there will be a number that you can access. Our Indian friends, there will be a line. And I'm happy to read out the numbers in Hindi or English. It is 0120-771-6739. And in Arabic, it is 0120-771-4953. Again, part of our efforts to make ourselves available to our community, to our Egyptian friends, whenever we need. We shouldn't let working hours or weekends or holidays come in between us and our commitment to deliver services to the community. We've also made a lot of effort over the last few months to kickstart our bilateral relationship. And as you know, Egypt has gone through a period of transition. There have been multiple changes of government. There is a state of stability now, and we've taken advantage of the relative stability to resume some of the long pending conversations between the government of India and the government of Egypt. We've had a very useful meeting of the Joint Trade Committee that took place in Delhi. We've had our annual Foreign Office consultations between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Egypt and the Ministry of External Affairs of India. We've had a Joint Defense Committee which had very, very useful discussions. We've had a visit from our Defense Research and Development Organization. We've also had a discussion at the Ministry of Science and Technologies level, and we've just signed a very important new agreement, a new executive program to strengthen our collaboration in science and technology in really cutting edge areas like nanotechnology and biotechnology and so on. So again, it's part of our efforts to make sure that even as we work on our other areas, that the relations between the government of India and the government of Egypt remain solid. A special activity for us that we take a lot of pride in was that we worked very closely with an international organization that is committed to promotion of democracy, and we translated the Constitution of India in Arabic language. And this entire Constitution of India in Arabic was formally released at the headquarters of the Arab League by none other than Dr. Nabil Al-Arabi, Secretary General of the League of Arab States, in the presence of ambassadors from Arab nations. And again, it was an important moment for us to have our constitution. And I thought that today, in particular, since we are celebrating the Constitution of India, it's important for me to share this information about the Constitution in Arabic. On the cultural side, we continue to be involved in a number of different activities. Our Glimpses of India contest that we do each year to bring Egyptian children working with the Ministry of Education to draw and paint something pertaining to India. Got an exceptional response this year. We had 4,000 Egyptian school children coming to various premises, and we've now carried it into other cities. And when we did our India Days in Minya and in Suez, we were again surprised by how many kids showed up. And I want to take this moment to particularly thank Manjeet. Our glimpses of India. Thank you. Each contribution that you make is a big help to us. And finally, we are getting ready for the third edition of our India by the Nile Cultural Festival. This has become, over the last couple of years, the largest foreign festival in Egypt. When we started, we said we would make it big and we'd make it annual, and we're trying to do exactly that. We have an amazing festival program coming up, including cinema, including dance, including music. The very famous Manipuri dance group, Phungcholam dance is coming. With the very popular music group Advaita is coming. We'll have a big Bollywood style dance program, a music program at the Opera House. We're working with the government of Egypt to bring some of our master craftsmen and do workshops in handicrafts, an exhibition of handicrafts, a seminar called The Craft of Marketing, which talks about how India managed to build a multi-billion-dollar handicrafts industry out of nothing, and the employment that it generates. For our yoga fans, we have been in touch with Azhar Park, and for the 3rd and 4th of April, we are doing a well-being weekend for which we are getting 2 master yoga practitioners from India, 2 Ayurveda consultants from India, and we hope to do a weekend of yoga, meditation, Ayurveda, and of course some music and food as well. A festival is not complete without food. This year we are focusing on street foods. So we are bringing 3 halwais, literally, from India to offer some yummy street foods to everybody. And because this is also the centenary of the First World War, we'll have a separate exhibition and symposium which will be themed Heroes and Martyrs. And the effort here was to really work with our Egyptian friends and to recall that war 100 years back, which was not our war, but we lost hundreds of thousands of our young people, and to have a narrative from the point of view of the colonized countries rather than just one from the countries that started those wars, and we only participated in those because we were colonized. Last but not the least, we hope to have a very famous Indian personality here, and you'll be hearing more about that at the time of the festival. I again want to use this opportunity to thank the companies that have so generously supported the festival over the last 3 years. Without your support, really is that truly at our embassy, I as ambassador am blessed on 2 counts. One, to have the most supportive, wonderful Indian community that anyone can have. Thank you for always being there, for supporting us. And secondly, for having the most magnificent team at the embassy, our colleagues from India, the ladies who are always volunteering for so many of our events and activities, and our wonderful local staff without whom there's nothing that we would be able to do. Thank you so much. Please join for a cup of tea.